The truth, as given to me by the Source, is that there is only one being in our universe. One being, the Source. All that exists in the universe of which we are aware exists solely within the Source's mind. So it's kind of like when we have a dream, everything that's in the dream, the characters, the events, the interactions, the words, the emotions, all take place in our mind. All of this entire universe takes place in Source's mind. Each one of us, although we think we are separate individuals, separate beings, we are actually just characters in the Source's mind. Just like when we have dreams, there are separate characters in our dreams. Most of the time they're people that we know. We've either pulled them from our life or from TV or from movies or a combination of the same. But they're all individual personalities. They have different ways of speaking, they have different ways of thinking, they have different ways of acting in our dreams. And you can recognize people that you know in your dream by how they act, in addition to how they look, right? So just like we can have all those multiple characters in our own minds while we're dreaming, Source has all of us in its mind, except it's not dreaming. Does that make sense? So we are all individual personalities or characters or trains of thought within Source's one mind. Okay?
Do we have will?
Do we have what?
Are we acting on what Source is thinking, or do we have will?
Yes and yes. Because everything in the universe that exists within Source's mind, when we think, it's basically Source thinking. Yes, we have free will. Absolutely, completely, we have free will. And in fact, I wanted to come back here even though it was my time. I mean, I was dead. It wasn't a near-death experience. It was a I'm dead and done with it experience. Even though it was my time to go and I was merging back into the Source, I felt this very strong need to come back here and tell people what I had learned, and the Source allowed me to do that. So that's how important our free will is. Except you got to keep in mind, it's not our free will, it's Source's free will. See, we just think we're separate beings. Once we evolve, become enlightened, go through so many lifetimes, live in between lifetimes, when we go through the whole schmeal, when we get to the point where we understand that we're not separate from Source, that we are not individual beings out there, that we are really just Source thinking, then we merge back into it. Because once you know that, you can't unknow it. It's that deep understanding. It's not just the words. I mean, we can sit here and say these things, and I can say these things, and I don't feel like I'm part of Source. I feel like I'm Nancy Danielson, a human being sitting here in this class. But once we're in a spiritual state and we get to the point in our evolution where we truly understand that that's what we are, we're just Source thinking Janet, Source thinking Joe, Source thinking Mary, then we merge back into it. So what ghosts are, just a second, are just different thoughts within Source becoming aware of each other. Because there's only one being in our universe, everybody is everywhere all the time. If you believe that the God of your understanding exists everywhere, and God is everywhere all the time, and if we are just personalities or characters within that same God, then we exist everywhere all the time. The only reason we're not always aware of all the others is because we're in these bodies, in these physical bodies, which puts us in little boxes with very limited sensory abilities.